Hello ladies, it's your girl Soleil, or as I like to say, Soleil. Today I want to talk to you about the subliminal red pill movement. I'm so sorry if I keep looking there. By the way, there's a mirror. I'm just getting used to these. So anyway, now please note that I'm not a sociologist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just someone who likes to notice patterns in the world and someone who reads a lot and just not like books, but like also like research papers and all of that. So yeah, this is just coming from me. It's my personal experience as well. So if you feel like anything is wrong, you don't have to take it. I'm just sharing my honest opinions. So I've already put on some concealer because I've been having a really bad bout of acne, and I am part of the societal pressures of the world, and I don't like coming off ugly. So that is the reason why concealer's already been done. And yeah, I do put my concealer before I put my foundation. First, let me start by telling you what subliminal red pill messaging even is. So subliminal red pill messaging is basically red pill messaging geared towards women or men even, to be honest. That's just not very obvious. So, there is messaging of red pill, which is like dirt obvious, right? We have like the Charlie Cooks of the world, or, he who shall not be named, bald guy with the same last name as Tate McRae, or first name, I guess. Um, anyway, so that's like obvious red pill messaging, but subliminal red pill messaging is basically covert red pill messaging. It's red pill messaging you don't actually see, but it is taking place. And I noticed that there is a bout of that going on around our social media, even the media we consume, right? Like just a lot of messaging that is geared towards making us more soft spoken or more homely, more feminine. I don't think there's anything wrong with femininity. I just don't think that femininity is what we've made it out to be in, TV shows or on these social media platforms where people are all talking about how, like, if you're feminine and a high value woman, then you need to be like quiet. And I don't know. I recently saw a comment where someone said the most feminine woman I know is Amal Clooney, and I don't think she doesn't order her own dinner, and I don't think that she is soft. Like she's soft spoken, but she's not like, she doesn't look like someone who would make their man order the dinner. I don't know. I thought that was really lovely, and I agree. Some of the most feminine, beautiful women that I have met in my own life have been power women, powerhouses, and they're loud and they laugh obnoxiously. But they're also just, you look at them and you're like, ooh, that's a woman. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you're a lot of women, you know? Yeah, so I want to kind of take you back to what I meant by wanting to share my own personal experience. So last year, oh my god, I have like something stuck over here and I can't get rid of it. Okay, so there you go. See what I mean? Okay, so last year I had a bit of depression. I was like clinically depressed. Anyway, I struggled through depression in general, but what I noticed was that this was geared a lot towards me and myself and my physical body, which has just not happened before. I think a lot of times when I've experienced depression, it's been more about not being happy with the world and where we are, or feeling stuck. But this time it felt different in that it actually almost resulted in a bit of an ED, massive trigger warning. I used to look at myself in the mirror and just feel so ugly, like dirt ugly. I'm not even joking. I'd look at myself and I'd be like, everything's wrong with me. I have acne and I'm fat. I felt fat all the time, okay? And I've always been quite petite, if we're being honest, and skinny, as one might say. So it's not that I was, and it's not that there's anything wrong with being fat. I'm not trying to be fat phobic, but for me personally, that was like, it was a new experience. It was massive body dysmorphia, and I'd never experienced that before. And I noticed, as I was getting better in therapy, what I noticed was that a lot of the content that I was consuming was about femininity. It was about how to look. I'd been single for like 10 years, and I was honestly starting to feel like maybe I'll never get like love. Maybe I'll never get it, because it really did feel like the more the more I succeeded, or the more I became stronger in my career, the less it felt like I could connect with people my own age, or even like, and I'm gonna be honest, ladies, I've dated in all kinds of income brackets, older, younger. I mean, the oldest I've dated is like 44, the youngest I've dated is like 23. So I have been in the game and in the field. And I can tell you one thing is all the high value women content that I watched is wrong. They can have a lot of money, they can be great people, they can have no money. If you're attracting the wrong person, and you're going to be attracting people as the worth you feel, unfortunately. So I clearly was not feeling very worthy, so I kept attracting really bad male partners. I also just really attract people who need to be fixed. Don't get me started. It's just so much easier to use someone else as a project than myself, you know what I mean? But the point being, and I completely forgot that I have to do my own makeup as well. The point being that it was very easy for me to sort of feel like I need to fix things about myself, and which is crazy because people did like me for who I am. It's not like I've never been liked for who I am, but I felt like the person I was would never attract a real kind of good person. And I started watching all of this high value women content. And I guess part of it was also just making myself feel better, right? Like I wanted to feel like maybe I'm a high value woman and that's why I'm not getting the right kind of person. But you know what that ended up doing? I ended up settling so bad, ladies. I ended up in massively horrible situationships, and worst of all, did break my 10-year single dog and ended up dating this horrible, horrible person who was just not right for me. And I thought they were perfect. And I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have my standards. Maybe this is the kind of person I can be like a woman with, you know? It was so bad. It was so bad. And it honestly trashed my confidence even further than what it was. So, really, what it all led to was me feeling unworthy, me feeling like I need to be more tried or wifey, me feeling like, and those are just not real things. And that is subliminal red pill messaging. It's messaging that makes us feel as women we need to be less. Now, the reason why I think that has become so massively common is one, I genuinely don't think that some people know what they're doing. Like, I genuinely don't think that a lot of these women who do red pill, high value women content know what they're doing because I used to be one of them. I have definitely posted my fair share of be a high value woman content, or I feel like high value woman. And I've used it in conversations. And don't get me started on the number of times I had discussions with people on why men should pay for the first date. And let's not go there because that's still a controversial topic for me. I'm still figuring that out as someone who makes more money than most people I date. So, anyways, the point being, I don't think a lot of people know what they're doing. The second thing is, it's so easy to monetize self hatred. Like, okay, all kinds of hatred is easy to monetize. It's how regimes, the darkest, worst regimes of the world have been created because they focus on hatred. Because it's so much easier to do that than focus on love. So same way, a lot of creators have built their entire content off of hatred, and this is not hatred of each other, but hatred of ourselves, hatred of all things that we hate about ourselves. And so, yeah, I feel like that's kind of where this has started. And I do think some people definitely know what they're doing, but they just don't care of the implications. And that's fine. That's their life of choice. You know, me personally, I do care about the kind of impact I make in the world. Not everyone has to, and that's completely okay. So what I've learned is that, you know, from therapy and just talking to other people who are in relationships as well as people who are single, it's like you don't have to change yourself. I mean, I'm not saying, okay, and this is where people get it wrong. I do think we should all change ourselves. Every single day, we should strive to be better versions of ourselves. We should, if we have trauma, work on that. And, you know, we should not continue that trauma. But you don't have to fundamentally change who you are, which is what I was doing when I was trying to date. Is, you know, I am someone who's just so honestly, I'm much more in my masculine energy than I am in my feminine. I like making my own choices. Hell, I like being the decision maker most of the times, and I like paying for my own meals, etc. Right, so I'm a lot more in my masculine energy, and I do like wearing pants and shirts and stuff like that. And what I was trying to do is I was changing fundamentally everything about myself. I was like changing how I dress, changing how I do my hair, changing how I talk to people, changing how I laugh, you know, because I laugh really loudly. So I was like, what the hell was wrong with me? But that's what these kind of movements do to us, right? They make us feel like the way we are, we're never going to be loved, so we need to be different people. But people are going to fall in love with this different version of you, and that's not you. So how can that be real love anyway, right? Just a thought. It's also the fact that, you know, as you may know, literary rates for women have increased drastically. And obviously there's the male loneliness epidemic. So women are, in terms of the cis dating system, women are increasingly becoming more badass, more incredible. They're really, now we have careers, etc. We're studying, we know who we are, we're getting therapy, etc. But men are not meeting us there. So because men are not meeting us there, and because of the loneliness epidemic, the thing that is being pushed on us is to be less. Is to be less. And what I've learned is that someone who loves you will never make you feel like you need to be less. Someone who loves you will never make you feel like you're too loud. I mean, that's like how I used to get bullied when you were younger, and there were bullies, and they'd be like, "Oh, why are you so loud?" Or "Why are you so, yeah?" And everyone who disliked me as a child, or you know, who used to make me feel like I'm not enough, the people who used to bully me as a child, they used to say these things that I now used to say to myself, right? Like, I became my own bully. And I started believing these things. I'm too much, too loud, I laugh too ugly, So these are things that we really shouldn't be taking into account, and they're just going to make us sadder. And it's why so many of us are so confused about what we want, and also why we're struggling to feel good about ourselves. And and it's why we're finding so many things that are kind of unimportant, and we're kind of picking on them, and we're like, that's sending feminism 50 years back. Because what we're trying to find is some kind of understanding of the world, is my perspective of the world, right? We're all trying to find this understanding of the world and where we stand in it. And it's so much easier to blame externalities than blame ourselves for what we're watching, what we're giving attention to, and to realize what we're doing to ourselves and to the next generations. Like, why are we doing that, right? And there's so many different ways of revolutionizing ourselves. For me, that's like talking to my friends about this red pill movement and talking about how, is it really you when you're laughing less loudly? Is it really you when you dress in all pink, subtle colors and stuff? Is it really you when you ask someone to pay for you on the first date? It's about really figuring out what's you and what's not you. And I'm not saying that any of these things are bad, by the way. If you are a traditional person, if you are someone who prefers these things, that's completely okay. That's you. But at the same time, like, no one should be calling you out to be like, be louder, get a job. That's the whole point of feminism, ladies, that we get this choice, right? We get this choice to be, whether we want to be traditional, whether we want to be loud. My thought process in this is just do not get stuck on that. And ultimately, also to the trad ladies, know what you're doing, because I have seen firsthand marriages that are completely wrecked because of being traditional, because the wives don't have, abusive marriages and so many things. So do what you're doing, but just know where you stand. Have some kind of financial backing for yourself. Have something to keep yourself protected. As much as you love a person, you never know. Okay, you never know. So it's best to be protected. And I know that a lot of people don't really enjoy that kind of thinking, but it is the thinking you have to think about sometimes. I'll try to put some documents or something like that on the description, so you can find something more detailed to read about it. But if you have resources and you understand what I'm talking about and you want to discuss it further, please make sure to comment the books you're reading, comment how you feel about this. And it's okay, I can be wrong, I can be totally wrong, I believe that. Like, I don't believe that I am completely right all the time. So if you think I'm wrong, go ahead, tell me I'm wrong, and explain to me why you think I'm wrong. And I do think this also extends to men, by the way. If you are a man who's watching this and you care about the female gaze, if you care about the female perspective, I would also say that if any relationship makes you feel like you need to carry all the burden, you need to carry everything, I don't think really that's the right kind of relationship. I think that relationships and dating are, they're a two-way street. And you also deserve to not be in constant survival mode. But meet people where they are. Meet people where they are. And try not to be rude to each other, you guys. The world is hard enough as it is. Let's not try to make ourselves feel like we're less. Let's not make other people feel like they're less. The way I started unlearning all of these things that I was learning was, one, I went off of social media for about 2 weeks, like completely off. I deactivated no social media for about 2 weeks. Did wonders for my brain, by the way. And when I went back, I actually refreshed my feed, and I uninterested any video where I saw myself comparing myself to someone, whether that was couples, whether that was a woman, whether it was like, I don't feel pretty looking at this. And for a while, I just uninterested all of that. My entire feed just became food, to be honest. food and gymnastics videos or something. But doing that did wonders for me, and it helped me come back into this place where I don't hate myself anymore. I looked at myself more in the mirror, even tried doing a lot less makeup for a bit when I was looking at myself, took some pictures of myself without makeup, etc. These things really helped me. And also just honestly do like taking time to dress up to feel better, right? Especially on days when I was feeling really, really bad, just dressing up and putting myself together, and like that's the person I can also become, right? So these are all things that I did to make myself feel better while simultaneously I was in therapy and working on my self-worth with my therapist. So these are all the things I was doing. I also noticed that something that was impacting me a lot was the fact that the kind of friend groups I was in, they were not nice to me at that time. I've always been really careful with the kind of people I let into my group because, as psychology says, like you're most like the 5 people who are around you, and you're impacted a lot by the people who are around you. So I'm always very careful of who I let into my circle. But because I was depressed, I was basically letting in anyone, and I realized I was in circles that were making me feel really crappy about myself. They would make jokey, disrespectful jokes, just not nice, just making me feel like I'm not a great person, and I continuously feeling like I need to be shut down, or I'm not cool enough, I'm not great enough. And also just a lot of women I was hanging out with cared about different things than I cared for, and that does impact you. Like, I'm really big on female friendships, but if the group you're with is not aligning to the way you think, that's okay to step back. Like, it's okay, we're all going to be in different journeys of life. For me personally, right now, and just in life in general, being in a traditional marriage and stuff like that, that's just never mattered. And started mattering a lot more all of a sudden. I thought maybe I'm just getting older, right? But it's not. It's just because it was what was being fed to me. And finding myself back in the things that matter to me, like achieving my goals or making better friends or reading books, right? Just finding that like love for myself and the things that I enjoy was greater, and meeting people who are more like me, that really, really helped. I'm not saying you shouldn't hang out with people who want different things. I'm just saying that if you're hanging out with people who want completely different things from you, you're going to start thinking that what you want is not enough. And I did start hearing people say, like, well, you're eventually going to want to be married, you're eventually going to want this. And that's not the kind of people you want in your life. You want people who respect your decisions. I respect my friends when they say that they want to get married, or they want children, or they want this and that. I don't go around telling them that that's not what you want. So you shouldn't have people telling you vice versa either, that what you want is wrong or what you're doing is wrong. And that's my take. It's so yeah, 3 steps to make myself feel better was: 1, stopped watching all of the content that was making me feel shit, cleared out my social medias, made myself watch better things. 2 was just like slowly reigniting myself with self-love, affirmations, all of that. 3, therapy. 4, surrounding myself with people who actually understood me and who understood my goals, my vision, and were not continuously making me feel like shit. All of these things together really did help push me out of that depression period, out of my body dysmorphia, out of my almost ED. So I'm very much happier now. I feel a lot better, and I'm noticing a lot of patterns in our society now where I feel like women are being pushed to be less. And I just want to remind you that you're never too much. You deserve love. And yeah, I also just want to talk about the fact that I completely forgot to mention is that you having less self-worth, you not feeling like your true self, etc., is beneficial to the patriarchy. It's beneficial to politicians. It's beneficial to economies, right? Like capitalism. Because when you have less time to focus on, so when you're spending all of your energy, all of your time thinking about yourself, how you look, are you good enough? You don't have enough time to give other people empathy, number 1. You don't have enough time to get educated about real world issues, number 2. So you don't have time to form an opinion about important things that are happening, okay? And then by the time you already feel less and feel shit, well, guess what? You're gonna think that your opinion is not even worthy, like you don't deserve to have an opinion about these things. So that's important to remember. And at the same time, like when we feel more comfortable in ourselves, in our lives, what does it do? Less birth rates. That's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem, right? And it also reduces the number of people who buy things like skincare. If you'll notice, a lot of the content has shifted from having a 10-step skincare routine to a 3-step skincare routine. You have to realize that these things do impact big companies, big pharma, big. And you have to remember that they will want to push these things on you. Very few of these companies and people, etc., give a shit about you. So yeah, it is part of the bigger scheme of things. And when we're stressed out, when all of that, or we don't have time and energy to give to other people, and we can't really show up as the best versions of ourselves, then how in the world are we going to show up for the world? How are we going to show up for the people who need us? Not in just our personal lives, but also just in the world in general. And they like it that way, the big all. But yeah, that's something very important to remember in terms of like, if you're wondering like, why would anyone care about this? Well, there are people who care about this and who will want to push these kind of ideals on you. So stay alert, girls. Stay alert. The point of this video is you deserve love as the person you are. You deserve to be loud. You don't have to be feminine in some kind of box that people are putting you, because if that's not you. That's all for now, ladies. Thank you for joining me. Follow, subscribe, like, share, etc. But for the most part, just remember, you are incredible and you deserve to be loved and met where you are. I'm sending you a ton of love if you're struggling, and even if you're not, because everyone deserves love, right? Follow me for more, and I'll probably put like my final look up after this video. I really don't do great with doing my makeup and talking, but we'll learn. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe or tell me that you like it, or DM me, whatever you want to do, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for the day. Slay away. This was a lay.